Hey guys, Chip here. This is going to be a bit of a different video because this I'm going to talk about how you can actually take some of your best renderings and AI prints and create physical manifestations of them that you can put on your wall, right? So the way this came about was a few years back. I was traveling through Houston and I ran across this gallery called the Peter Lik Gallery. And this guy supposedly is the most prolific photographer in the world. And his stuff is amazing, and he has a very controlled gallery showroom, and they are amazing. If you ever get a chance, check them out. The images actually look like they were backlit, even though they weren't. They were created using a specific technology, and the lighting in the studio, in the gallery, and everything was just amazing. I mean, I remember, you can see this is kind of what a gallery might look like. And they just have amazing images in there. And I don't remember the last time I was so impressed at looking at just the visual impact of art. And for many of you now, AI art has allowed you to create similar kinds of things. So what I want to do is I want to find out what was going on. How did he actually do this, right? So I did a bunch of research, and it turns out that he's using a silver halide Kodachrome, which is a photographic process with silver in it, and then he's bonding it to acrylic. Because it's bonded, it has a different refraction index than glass, not to mention that the acrylic is placed directly and bonded to the actual photograph. And if you know anything about light pipes and the way light pipes are used to transfer light from one end of an acrylic piece to another end, and in the past I've designed a bunch of these things where you take an LED on a circuit board and you light pipe it up to a display panel, and you'll find that acrylic does a really good job of transferring light information. So anyway, I went to this website, artisanhd.com, and they talked all about it. And the key thing here is this FujiFlex Crystal, and these photo prints are very much like that Ektachrome or Kodachrome with silver halide that Peter Lik uses. I'm not sure which one it was. So anyway, so this has a 4-step process, talks about how they do it. And I was fascinated, actually. And I thought, okay, let me think about that. But as I was doing that, I also looked at another version of this, which is HD acrylic prints, right? And these prints are using an inkjet printer to print the actual substrate. So what I ended up doing was I took this image, which many of you may have seen already. This is an image I did early on in Midjourney, and it was 2048 by 1280, which is pretty big, but you're going to need to blow it up. And so there's a lot of different AI programs. I use Gigapixel to do it, which is a paid software, but you can also, now there's this new free one called Escargan, ESRGAN, which you can actually use to do the same thing. I'm linking you to this video. I'll put it in the description, but it's a video by Ask NK recently that came out, just a week ago or so. He's got a good explanation of what it is and where to get it from. So anyway, so the point is you take the image and you upscale it. And this one I upscaled so that the actual final print size was 4096 by 2048. In this case, I just doubled it. You might want to go larger. I saved it as a JPEG. You might want to save it as a PNG, but I think that JPEGs will work easier because they can be uploaded to these services easier. So first thing I did, I ordered the FujiFlex Crystal one, which is an actual photographic process, as I mentioned, and I mounted it on this True Life acrylic. I have an 18 by 9 image, which is the size of that image, and it cost me $175.08. And then I looked at the ArtBeat, same version. This one was 10 by 20 because that's the size. So it's a little bit larger, and it was significantly less, $130.07. And so what I want to do is I want to compare them. I want to get both of them in there. And one thing they say about these images is that you really want something dark and maybe with some shiny stuff on it. So this has got some good blacks in it, and it's got some good, lights in it. You got some good lights and some high contrast, and it's kind of a lot of detail. So you want to kind of have something, I would say a little darker with a lot of contrast. And if you actually look at Peter Lik stuff and you look at his galleries, and let's look at some of his work, you can see, let's go to, let's view all. You can start to see that a lot of these things, the most impressive ones are the ones that have kind of a dark component to it. And I've seen some of these are huge, by the way, $12,000, crazy pricing, but incredibly beautiful shots. And I'm sure he uses a bunch of HDR and Photoshop tricks to get this to look the way it is. The point is that when you look at these, you're going to see a lot of these bright, super intense colors and darks to lights. This is a good example of showing that picture against a white background. It also works pretty good for black and white images as well. I've seen some of these and they are just spectacular. So anyway, back to what we were doing. So I ordered these two, the ArtBeat one and the Artisan one. And keep in mind, the ArtBeat one was the more inexpensive one, the one that's using inkjet printing, and the Artisan one is the one that's using the photographic printing. So hopefully that'll give you an idea of what we're doing. So let me show you a really kind of crappy video of what they both look like in person and give you my thoughts. So first off, I might say I need to apologize for this video. It's a crappy video. I did it with my phone. But the purpose of the video really isn't to look as much at the quality as to see how much they are actually close to being identical. You'll have to take my word for it, but I've lit it with different kinds of lights and I've moved back and forth and I've looked closely at the details. And I think the top one here is the FujiFlex, and it has not the darkest blacks, whereas the inkjet has darker blacks, but the top one has a little more detail in the light areas. And as I looked at it, I can see a little bit more detail. But if I just hang on the wall and show them, you're going to look about the same. So if you're a little bit more interested in FujiFlex and the difference between it and typical Fuji Crystal photographic paper, here's a nice article here on this fellow's blog. And as it turns out, FujiFlex is still a photographic paper that needs to be exposed, but it uses a digital exposure technique using RGB lasers. It's kind of an older technique, and those printers are pretty expensive, and they're not like inkjet printers. And if you walk through and look at some of this and then you go through some forums, you'll find out that a lot of people now are saying that the inkjet printers can do as good or better than a lot of these photographic results. So my thought is just to stick with the inkjet. I like that metallic paper that I got from ArtBeat, and to be honest with you, the two results I got, the one with a photochemical result and the one with the inkjet result, were so similar it was very difficult to choose which one I liked more. But I did like the fact that the inkjet one was a lot less expensive. I think the key here is using the acrylic bonding technology, and so I'd highly recommend taking a look at that. So I hope this video is helpful, and we'll see you guys online. Thanks for watching. Bye.